You keep adding medical conditions or diagnoses that you find to your disability file, and for whatever reason, you're getting angry because Social Security still won't find you disabled. Few things you need to be aware of. First of all, Social Security doesn't treat this as a kitchen sink approach, meaning they have a responsibility to look at a combination of all of your impairments, but they have to all demonstrate that you're disabled. So don't think by adding on different things like, oh, I got cholesterol now I got high blood pressure now, I have all these things. If those things don't demonstrate that you're disabled, you're adding it to it. Social Security will consider it, but they're looking at it in terms of the entire picture. Secondly, if it keeps adding along the way, it's what we call bootstrapping. If your initial application was based on your back, and then 6 months later you got diabetes, and then 6 months later you have high blood pressure that's really bad, and then another 6 months later you have epilepsy, they're not going to take all those things that they've added up over those periods of time and then lump it right at the very beginning. They're going to look at each point along the way and make a determination at what point did those added things increase your ability of showing that you're disabled. So it's important to recognize, guess what? If at this first point you have your back problems and now you got 6 months later diabetes, they're going to look at the point when they determine you had diabetes, is that a point where you became disabled collectively with your back problem? See what I mean? So be very careful not to think that just because you add additional impairments that it's automatically going to add to your disabling condition from a standpoint of saying, okay, now we can go all the way back to the beginning to show that I'm disabled with all these problems. Also, finally, remember, you bear the burden of proving that you're disabled. So if you start getting some added impairments, treat those new doctors and those new conditions the same way you did the original ones. See if you can get a doctor that can provide statements that can demonstrate the limitations that you're having as a result of your conditions with the original condition. Remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint, but you bear the burden of proving you're disabled. So you want to make sure that if you get added impairments along the way, that you can demonstrate those added impairments demonstrates that you are disabled.